Welcome to my channel Deep Sleep Mission-DSM. As we begin, I would be delighted if you could share your location in the comments below. It's truly inspiring to witness how far this content travels and to connect with viewers from across the world. Mom turned around, tears streaming down her face. I thought it was a miracle. You were okay? You were whole? We moved, started over. And you never asked about her again, never mentioned the accident. It was like those 3 months never happened. But they did happen. And she's still here, isn't she? Still in my head. Mom nodded. Sometimes I see her, in your expressions, the way you tilt your head when you're thinking, the way you hum when you're happy, little things that were hers, not yours. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number, not Dr. Morse's. Don't go to the MRI. They know. Get out now. I showed Mom the message. Her face went even paler. Who else knows about this? The hospital. They kept records. The experiment. It wasn't exactly legal. Informed consent was fuzzy. If this gets out. Another text. Black SUV, outside your mother's house. You have 3 minutes. I looked out the window. The SUV was already there, parked across the street, engine running. We went out the back door. Mom's neighbor had a gate that connected to the alley. We could hear car doors slamming as we ran. My car was 3 blocks away, parked at the Starbucks where I'd stopped to gather my courage before confronting Mom. We made it just as the black SUV rounded the corner. Where do we go? Mom asked, breathing hard. I didn't know. But then, I did. Not my knowledge. Hers. The cabin. Mom looked at me sharply. How do you know about... I don't. She does. The cabin was in Mount Hood National Forest, 2 hours east. Mom's parents had owned it, sold it the year after the accident. But somehow, I knew it was empty, knew where the spare key was hidden, knew the back roads to get there without being followed. The knowledge felt strange in my head, like wearing someone else's glasses. Everything slightly off, but still functional. We drove in silence for an hour. Then Mom spoke. She loved that cabin. You both did. We spent the summer before the accident there. You were trying to catch fireflies, put them in mason jars to make fairy lanterns. A memory surfaced. Not mine, but as clear as if it was. Megan's hands, my hands, holding a jar full of dancing lights. The smell of pine and marshmallows. Dad's laugh, deep and warm. I can feel her, I said. More and more. It's like she's waking up. Does she know? What happened? I searched inside myself, found that other presence, the one that had always been there. Hidden, integrated, but separate. Yes, the answer came from within, but not from me. I've always known. Mom swerved slightly. Was that... Yeah, the headache was back. Worse than before, like my skull was too small for everything inside it. I'm sorry, the words came out of my mouth, but they weren't mine. I never meant for this, never wanted to hide. But every time I tried to surface, you got sick. So I stayed quiet, stayed deep, became the voice you thought was intuition, the dreams you couldn't quite remember, the decisions that felt right even when you couldn't explain why. Mom was crying. Trying to drive and cry at the same time. Megan, baby, is it really you? Hi, Mom, 2 words. 20 years of grief cracked open. We had to pull over. Mom sobbed into the steering wheel while we sat there. 2 consciousnesses in one body, both daughters, neither complete. My phone rang. Dr. Morse, they're tracking your phone. You need to destroy it, now. Wait, what do they want? The technology. What we did, it worked. You're proof. Proof that consciousness can be transferred, preserved. Do you have any idea what that's worth? What people would pay to cheat death? I thought about the implications. Rich people buying poor people's bodies. Consciousness transfers. Digital immortality made flesh. They can't replicate it without studying us. Exactly. Both of you, they need to map the neural bridge. Understand how two minds can coexist. And Sarah, Megan, the only way to do that properly is to separate us, which would kill you both. The integration is too complete. You're not two people sharing a brain anymore. You're something new, something in between. I hung up, took out the phone's battery, threw both pieces out the window. The cabin appeared through the trees just as the sun was setting, exactly as I remembered it. Both sets of memories now, mine of driving past it once, years ago, not knowing why it made me sad. Hers of summers spent catching frogs in the creek behind it. Inside, everything was dusty but intact, like time had stopped in 1997. Mom found candles. The electricity had been cut off years ago. In the flickering light, she studied my face. "I can see you both," she whispered. "The way the shadows fall. Sometimes it's Sarah. Sometimes it's Megan. Sometimes it's both." We sat in the living room, the same couch where Dad had read us stories, where we'd built blanket forts, where a family of 4 had been happy, before becoming a family of 2, then 1.5, then whatever we were now. "What happens tomorrow?" Mom asked. "When you don't show up for the MRI? They'll come looking, and then?" We didn't have an answer. How do you hide when you're the only one of your kind? When your very existence is worth billions to the right buyer? We could run. Megan's voice, clearer now, separate but not forever, I thought back. Together. The word hung between us. Together. We'd been together for 20 years without knowing it. Every decision I'd made, had she influenced it? Every relationship that had failed? Was it because no one could love half a person? Or was it because I was never just one person to begin with? "There's something else," Mom said suddenly. "Something I never told anyone, not even Dr. Morse." She went to the bookshelf, pulled out a photo album I didn't recognize. Inside, pictures from those missing months, October to January. But they weren't just pictures of me in the hospital. They were pictures of both of us. Impossible pictures. Megan standing beside her own comatose body. Megan and I playing cards while she was supposedly brain dead. Megan, translucent, like a double exposure, but there. How? I don't know. The nurse, she took them, said the camera was malfunctioning, but I kept them because I could see her. Even when the doctors said she was gone, I could see her with you. I studied the photos. In every one, we were holding hands, the conscious me and the impossible her, connected. Even then, a sound outside. Engines, multiple vehicles. They'd found us. Mom grabbed my hand. "There's a root cellar. Under the kitchen. Your grandfather used it during Prohibition. You could hide. For how long? They'll tear this place apart." The headache was blinding now, my vision splitting. Seeing the room from 2 angles, 2 perspectives, like that first memory but stronger. "Sarah, Megan, we need to choose. Choose what? Who lives?" The front door splintered. Men in tactical gear, flashlights cutting through the candlelit darkness. Mom stepped forward, trying to shield us. "Me, U.S. Please, she's sick, she needs help." "Step aside, ma'am." Dr. Morse walked in behind them. Older, grayer, but those same calculating eyes. "Hello, Sarah. Megan. It's time. Time for what?" to finish what we started. The technology's better now. We can separate you safely, give you both what you deserve. Individual lives, individual bodies. Whose body does Megan get? Her silence was answer enough. Someone brain dead. Someone whose family has agreed to donate. Someone young, healthy, compatible. Someone who isn't using it anymore, I said flatly. It's better than the alternative. This shared existence. It's killing you. The neural strain, the constant division of resources. Your brain scans from last year. The degradation is accelerating. You have maybe 6 months before complete cognitive collapse. Last year's scans. The ones for my migraines. They'd known. They'd been watching. 6 months. Together. Or forever apart. The choice hung between us. In us. Around us. And then, something unexpected happened. We laughed, both of us. Same mouth, same sound, but somehow, distinctly, 2 laughs harmonizing. You think we're broken, we said, we said, not I, we. You think we need fixing. You're an anomaly, a beautiful, brilliant anomaly, but unsustainable. Says who? Dr. Morse pulled out a tablet. Brain scans, charts data. Says 20 years of observation. Says medical science. Says the fact that you're standing here talking as we instead of I. She was right. We were changing. The integration reversing. Becoming more separate even as we remained connected. Like one cell dividing into 2, but still sharing cytoplasm. Still sharing life. What if that's evolution? Megan's voice, clear and distinct from my throat. What if this is what's supposed to happen? That's not how evolution works, isn't it? Adaptation to survive? We survived something impossible. Both of us, together, maybe this is just the next step. The tactical team was getting nervous. Fingers on triggers. Whatever they'd been told about us, it had them scared. And then I understood. There are others, aren't there? Other experiments, other neural bridges. Dr. Morse's face gave it away. How many? 17 pairs, worldwide. Different variations, different outcomes. And we're the only success. The only stable integration. Yes. And if you can replicate it, humanity changes. Death becomes optional. Consciousness becomes transferable. The implications are monstrous. Mom's voice, quiet but firm. You're talking about playing God with people's souls. There is no soul, only neural patterns. Electrical impulses, chemistry. She's wrong. Megan, inside my mind. I know, me, answering. We're proof. Of what? That love transcends death. That connection goes deeper than neurons. That 2 can become 1 and remain 2. The philosophy of it was making my head spin. Or maybe that was just the strain of holding 2 consciousness in active dialogue. We won't go with you, we said. You don't have a choice. Everyone has a choice. And then we chose. Not death, not separation. Something else. We let go. Not of each other, but of the barriers. The walls that Dr. Morse had built. The ones that kept us stable but separate. We let them fall. The sensation was indescribable, like drowning and breathing for the first time simultaneously. Like dying and being born, like coming home and leaving forever. The room exploded with sound, the tactical team shouting, Dr. Morse screaming instructions, Mom calling our names, but inside, silence. Perfect, complete silence. And then, hello. One voice, 2 sources, new configuration. We opened our eyes, my eyes, her eyes, our eyes. The world looked different. Not double vision, not split perspective, but deeper, like seeing in 4 dimensions instead of 3. Every person in the room existed on multiple levels: body, mind, energy, something else, something without a name. "What did you do?" Dr. Morse whispered. "Became." The word held meanings that English couldn't convey. Became ourselves, became each other, became something new. The readings. One of the technicians was staring at a handheld scanner. Brain activity is off the charts, but stable. Perfectly stable. It's impossible. Impossible is just what hasn't happened yet. We stood up. The tactical team raised their weapons. "Don't!" Mom stepped between us and them. "Please, that's my daughter. Daughters. That's family," we finished. "We're family." Dr. Morse was typing frantically on her tablet. "The other pairs, they need to know. This could save them. The integration protocol, if they can achieve this state, they will. When they're ready, when they choose it, not when you force it. You don't understand. The degradation is evolution, the pain of change. Butterflies don't emerge without destroying the chrysalis." We walked toward the door. The tactical team parted. Something in our eyes, in our presence, made them step aside. "You can't just leave," Dr. Morse called after us. "The world needs to understand what you are. Science needs to catch up. We'll be here when it does." Outside, the forest was alive with sound. Owls, wind, the creek behind the cabin. But underneath it, something else. Other voices, other connections. The 17 pairs Dr. Morse mentioned. We could feel them, scattered across the globe, struggling, suffering, waiting. We should help them. Megan's thought. "We will." Sarah's response, together, both, neither, knew. Mom followed us out. "Where will you go?" "Forward. Will I see you again?" We turned, hugged her, let her feel the truth of us. 2 hearts beating in one chest. 2 daughters loving with one body. The impossible made real. Every time you look in a mirror and see 2 reflections. Every time you hear an echo that sounds like harmony. Every time you remember that love is bigger than death, you'll see us. She nodded, crying but smiling. "The diagnosis," she said. "Tomorrow at 9. You're supposed to get results." We laughed. That same harmonized sound. We already have them. We're not sick. We're not broken. We're just new. We walked into the forest. Behind us, Dr. Morse was shouting orders. The tactical team was packing up. The experiment was over, but the evolution had just begun. I know what you're thinking. You're wondering if this is real. If somewhere out there, 2 minds really can share one body. If consciousness really can survive death by hiding in someone else's thoughts. Check your dreams tonight. The ones where you're watching yourself from outside your body. The ones where you have conversations with someone who looks exactly like you. The ones where you wake up not quite sure which side of the mirror you're on. We all have a shadow self. A voice inside that sounds like us, but isn't quite us. Most people ignore it, suppress it, medicate it away. But what if it's not mental illness? What if it's someone else? Someone who's been with you so long, you can't tell where you end and they begin. The diagnosis is tomorrow, it always is. Every morning you wake up, you choose who you're going to be. 1 person, 2, something in between. The only question is, when you look in the mirror tomorrow morning, who's going to be looking back? And more importantly, have they always been there? Sleep tight. And if you hear someone else's thoughts tonight, maybe don't ignore them. Maybe say hello. You might be surprised who answers back. Maybe it's time we all got our diagnosis. Story number 2. The photo frame crashed to the floor at exactly 3:47 a.m. I know because I'd been staring at my phone for the past hour, unable to sleep. The sound wasn't what made my blood run cold, though. It was seeing that picture lying there in the broken glass. A picture of me standing next to someone I'd never seen before in my life. Someone who looked exactly like me. My hands trembled as I picked it up, careful not to cut myself on the shards. There we were, 2 identical teenage boys in matching Yankees jerseys, arms thrown around each other's shoulders, grinning at the camera like we owned the world. The thing is, I don't have a twin brother, I never have, but according to everyone else, I do, and his name is Marcus. If you're listening to this right now, lying in bed, maybe with the lights off, I need you to understand something. This isn't just a story. This is a warning. Because once you start noticing the cracks in your reality, once you begin questioning what everyone else accepts as truth, there's no going back. So, before I continue, ask yourself, are you absolutely certain you know everyone in your family photos? Are you positive your memories match everyone else's? Still here? Good. Then let me tell you what happened when I woke up yesterday morning to find my entire life had been rewritten, and I was the only one who remembered the truth. The story I'm about to tell you. It started yesterday, October 15th, a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesday is trash day in our neighborhood in Portland, Maine. And I could hear the garbage truck rumbling down Oak Street as I stumbled downstairs for breakfast. Mom was at the stove making scrambled eggs. Dad sat at the kitchen table, reading the Portland Press-Herald on his tablet. Everything normal, everything exactly as it should be. "Morning, sweetie," Mom said without turning around. "Could you go wake up Marcus? His eggs are getting cold." The spatula slipped from her hand and clattered on the floor. No, wait, that's not right. I dropped my phone. It hit the tile with a crack that made Dad look up from his news. "Who?" My voice came out as a whisper. Mom turned, her face creased with concern. "Marcus, your brother, honey? Are you feeling okay?" I stood there, frozen. My mother, the woman who'd raised me for 18 years, was asking me to wake up a brother who didn't exist. A brother I'd never had. I swallowed hard. I don't have a brother. The silence that followed was suffocating. Dad's chair scraped against the floor as he stood up. Mom's hand flew to her chest. They exchanged a look, the kind parents share when they think something's seriously wrong with their kid. "Tyler," Dad's voice was careful, measured. "Son, what are you talking about?" "I'm an only child." The words tumbled out. "I've always been an only child. We live in a 3-bedroom house, but one room is your office, Dad. The other is a guest room. There's no Marcus. There's never been a Marcus." Mom was already reaching for her phone. "I'm calling Dr. Peterson." "No." I grabbed her wrist, maybe too hard because she flinched. "Mom, please." "I'm not sick. I'm not confused. I don't have a twin brother." Dad moved closer, his hand on my shoulder. "Tyler, Marcus is upstairs right now. In his room. The room you two have shared since you were babies." "Shared? My room? My sanctuary with its movie posters and gaming setup? Shared? Come on." Dad guided me toward the stairs. "Let's go see him." "Maybe you hit your head or something." Each step felt like walking deeper into a nightmare. The family photos lining the stairway wall, they were all wrong. Every single one. Where there should have been just me, there were 2 of us. 2 boys with the same sandy brown hair, same green eyes, same crooked smile. Birthday parties with 2 cakes. Christmas mornings with matching presents. Little League photos with 2 kids in identical uniforms. Numbers 12 and 21. My legs felt like water. At the top of the stairs, Dad pushed open my bedroom door. No, not my bedroom. Our bedroom. 2 beds, 2 desks, 2 sets of everything. And in the bed by the window, the bed that should have been where my bookshelf stood, was a boy. My age, my face, my everything. He stirred, stretched, opened his eyes. "Morning, bro. You look like you've seen a ghost." I had. I was looking at one. A ghost who was somehow more real than me. "You're seriously starting to freak me out," Marcus said, pulling on a Celtics hoodie. My Celtics hoodie. No, his Celtics hoodie. There were 2 of everything in this room that used to be mine alone. I backed against the wall, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. "You're not real." He laughed, actually laughed. "Okay. Did you stay up playing Resident Evil again? I told you that stuff messes with your head." "Tyler's not feeling well," Dad said, his voice tight with worry. "Maybe you should give us a minute." "Nah, it's cool." Marcus walked over to me, and I could smell him. Old Spice deodorant and morning breath. Real. Solid. There. "Remember when we were 7 and you convinced yourself that I was a robot replacement? You made me do all those tests, like bleeding when you pricked my finger with that pin." I didn't remember. How could I remember something that never happened? "Show me," I whispered. "Show me proof you exist." Marcus's face shifted from amused to concerned. "Dude, seriously?" But he went to his desk, our desk, and pulled out his wallet. Maine driver's license, Marcus James Chen. Same birthday as me, January 3rd, 2006. Same address. The only difference was the license number. "Check your phone," he said quietly. With shaking hands, I pulled out my iPhone. The lock screen photo, instead of the landscape shot I'd taken at Pemaquid Point, showed Marcus and me at what looked like a Red Sox game. I unlocked it. My messages were full of conversations with Bro, going back years. Inside jokes I didn't understand. Plans I didn't remember making. A whole life I hadn't lived. Instagram was worse. Our account at Chent Winsmain had 847 followers. Hundreds of photos of us together. Videos of us doing synchronized basketball tricks in the driveway. Comments from classmates I recognized, talking to both of us like we'd both always existed. "The yearbook," I said suddenly. "Get last year's yearbook." Marcus pulled it from the bookshelf. Junior year, Portland High School, 2023 to 2024. He flipped to our class photos. Chen, Marcus, Chen, Tyler. 2 separate entries. 2 separate people. I grabbed the book, flipping through desperately. There we were in the basketball team photo, standing side by side. There we were in the National Honor Society group shot. The spring musical cast. Him as the lead, me in the ensemble, when I knew for a fact I'd played that lead role. "This is wrong," I kept saying. "This is all wrong." Mom appeared in the doorway with a thermometer. "Honey, let me take your temperature." "I don't have a fever." I pushed past her, past all of them, and ran to the bathroom, locking the door behind me. In the mirror, I looked exactly the same, but everything else was different. 2 toothbrushes in the holder, 2 towels on the rack, a medicine cabinet with duplicate everything. Even the prescription acne medication had 2 bottles, one labeled Tyler, one labeled Marcus. Someone knocked softly. "Ty?" Marcus's voice. "Can I come in?" "Go away. Look." I get it. Sometimes I have those dreams too, where I wake up and I'm alone, an only child. They feel super real, but that's all they are. Dreams. Dreams. Was that possible? Had I dreamed 18 years of being an only child? Or was I dreaming now? I opened the door. Marcus stood there, and for the first time, I really looked at him. We weren't perfectly identical. He had a small scar through his left eyebrow. His nose was slightly crooked, like it had been broken. His hair was maybe half an inch longer than mine. "The scar," I pointed. "How'd you get it?" He touched it unconsciously. "You seriously don't remember?" "We were 9. You dared me to climb the big oak in Deering Oaks Park. I fell, caught my face on a branch on the way down. You cried harder than I did, kept saying it was your fault. Mom had to calm you down while Dad took me to get stitches." I remembered that day. I remembered being at Deering Oaks Park. I remembered the dare. But in my memory, no one fell. In my memory, I climbed down safely and we went for ice cream after. "What's my middle name?" I asked suddenly. "James, same as mine. Mom couldn't decide which one of us should get Grandpa's name, so we both did." He paused. "Tyler, you're really scaring me now." "Should I get Mom, James? My middle name was Christopher. It had always been Christopher, after my dad's father, not my mom's." I made it through breakfast somehow, mechanically eating eggs while Marcus chatted about some test in AP Physics. A class I remembered taking alone, but apparently we were both in. Mom kept shooting me worried glances. Dad suggested maybe I should stay home from school. "No," I said. "I need to go. I need to see." I needed to see if the rest of the world had changed too. The walk to school was torture. Marcus walked beside me, earbuds in, occasionally singing along to whatever he was listening to. Every neighbor we passed waved to both of us. Mrs. Patterson called out, "Morning, Chen boys." Mr. Rodriguez, from 3 houses down, asked if we were still available to rake his leaves this weekend. Both of us, like we'd agreed to it together. Portland High looked the same from the outside. Red brick, white columns. Home of the Bulldogs banner stretched across the entrance. But the moment we walked in, everything was different. "Yo, Chen twins." Jason Reeves high-fived Marcus, then turned to me for the same. I'd known Jason since middle school. We weren't close, but friendly enough. In my reality, he'd never called me Chen Twin, just Tyler. Sarah Martinez was at her locker. Sarah, who I'd dated for 3 months sophomore year. She smiled at us. "Hey guys, Marcus, don't forget we have that Spanish presentation today." Marcus groaned. "I totally forgot. Senora Garcia is going to kill me." Sarah laughed, then looked at me. "You okay, Tyler? You look pale." "He's having a weird morning," Marcus answered for me. "Thinks he dreamed me up or something." Sarah's face did something strange. For just a second, less than a second, she looked confused. Not confused like that's weird, but confused like she was trying to remember something. Then it passed. "That happened to me once with my sister," she said. "Woke up convinced I was an only child. Freaked out my whole family. But here's the thing. Sarah was an only child. I knew for a fact she was an only child. She'd talked about it. How she always wanted siblings, but her parents couldn't have more kids after her." "Your sister," I said slowly. "Yeah, Marina. She's at UMaine now, studying engineering." Sarah pulled out her phone, showed me a photo. There was Sarah with another girl, clearly related, both smiling at the camera. The ground felt like it was tilting. In first period English, Mrs. Crawford had rearranged the seating chart to accommodate Marcus. He sat right behind me, occasionally tapping my shoulder to share notes. Notes in handwriting I recognized as my own, but couldn't remember writing. During lunch, I sat at our usual table, except it wasn't usual anymore. Marcus was there, had apparently always been there, joking with my friends, our friends, telling stories that involved both of us, stories everyone else remembered but me. "Remember the tournament last spring?" Kevin Wong was saying. When you two pulled off that twin switch play, Coach nearly had a heart attack when he realized you'd swapped jerseys at halftime. Everyone laughed. Marcus grinned. Tyler's idea, he figured out their defense was keying on our numbers, not our faces. I didn't remember any tournament. I didn't remember any twin switch. I was starting to feel like I was drowning, surrounded by a reality that everyone else accepted, but felt fundamentally wrong to me. That's when I saw it. On the cafeteria wall, the banner for homecoming. October 20th, with the homecoming court photos. There I was, nominated for homecoming king. But the name under my photo said Marcus Chen. I pointed. That's my photo. Marcus looked. No, that's me. See? You can tell by the... He touched his scarred eyebrow. I looked closer. He was right. The scar was there. But I remembered taking that photo. I remembered standing in the gym while Ashley Thompson from Yearbook adjusted the lighting. I remembered the joke she made about my expression looking too serious. Ashley took that photo, I said. Yeah, she took both of ours. Yours is over there. He pointed to another photo. Same pose, same expression, but no scar. 2 photos, 2 nominations. Chen twins both up for homecoming king. I excused myself and ran to the bathroom. In the stall, I pulled out my phone and did something I should have done earlier. I Googled myself, Tyler Chen, Portland, Maine. The results came up. My Facebook, but the profile said Tyler and Marcus Chen. My Instagram, that shared account. A newspaper article from last year when I'd won the science fair, except it said Chen twins take top honors at regional science fair. Then I tried Tyler Chen, only child, Portland, Maine. No results. Tyler Chen, no brother. Nothing. Marcus Chen doesn't exist. A chill ran down my spine. One result. A Reddit post from 3 days ago on r/glitch in the Matrix. Something weird is happening in Portland, Maine. My friend Tyler Chen swears he has a twin brother named Marcus, but I've known Tyler for 2 years and he's always been an only child. Now suddenly everyone remembers this Marcus kid. Even found photos of him. But I know he wasn't there before. Anyone else experiencing this? The post had no comments, no upvotes, like it had been immediately buried. I clicked on the username, u/rememberinright23. The account was deleted. My hands were shaking as I searched for more. Found another post. This one on a paranormal forum. Dated last week. Memory changes spreading through Portland. Started with the Chen family. Don't trust the photographs. Don't trust the documents. Remember what was real before Tuesday. Before Tuesday. Today was Tuesday. Last Tuesday was October 8th. I thought back. What did I do last Tuesday? I couldn't remember. The whole day was fuzzy, like trying to recall a dream. Monday, I remembered clearly. Went to school, had basketball practice, came home, did homework, went to bed. Wednesday, too. Normal day. Except Marcus was in those memories now. Faint, like someone had poorly photoshopped him into my mental images. But there, getting steadier, more solid. The more recent the memory. I left school early, told them I was sick. Wasn't exactly a lie. Marcus wanted to come with me, but I insisted I needed to be alone. The look of hurt on his face almost made me believe he was real. Almost. Instead of going home, I went to the Portland Public Library. The old part, with the newspaper archives. If reality had changed, maybe there were still cracks, places where the old truth showed through. I started with birth records, Portland General Hospital, January 3rd, 2006. There I was, Tyler Christopher Chen, 6 pounds, 8 ounces, born at 3:47 a.m., and right below it, Marcus James Chen, 6 pounds, 7 ounces, born at 3:52 a.m. The times. Why did those times feel important? 3:47 a.m. That was when the photo fell this morning. The photo that started all of this. I dug deeper. School records, medical records. Everything showed two of us, always two. But then I found something, a discrepancy. Our vaccination records from when we were 3. Mine showed the usual childhood vaccines. Marcus's were identical, except for one thing. The dates. His were all dated October 8th, even though the vaccines were supposedly given over multiple visits across several months. October 8th. Last Tuesday. I searched for more anomalies, found them in the details. A Little League team photo from when we were 10. 11 kids in uniform, but Little League teams have 12 players, minimum. The photo had been adjusted, stretched somehow, to make room for an extra person. A birthday party invitation I found in an old community newsletter. Come celebrate Tyler's 8th birthday. Not Tyler and Marcus, just Tyler. The more I looked, the more I found. Little cracks, inconsistencies. Like reality had been hastily edited and not all the seams were hidden. Then I found the security footage. The library had a small security office. I knew the guard, Mr. Jameson. He'd gone to get coffee, left his desk unlocked. I shouldn't have done it, but I had to know. I pulled up the footage from last Tuesday, October 8th, starting at midnight. Fast-forwarded through the empty library hours. Then, at 3:47 a.m., something happened. The screen flickered, static. When it cleared, nothing looked different. But the timestamp had jumped. 3:47 to 3:52, 5 minutes missing. Those exact times, the times on our birth certificates. I checked other cameras around Portland, hacking into what I could access using skills Marcus had apparently taught me, but I didn't remember learning. Same thing everywhere. 3:47 a.m., static, 3:52 a.m. 5 minutes erased from reality. My phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. Where are you? Mom's worried, then another. That weird feeling you have, I have it too sometimes, like I'm not supposed to be here. My blood went cold. Another text. Meet me at the park. Deering Oaks. By the oak tree, the one I fell from. I shouldn't have gone. Every instinct told me not to go, but I had to know. The park was empty when I arrived. Late afternoon shadows stretched across the grass. The oak tree stood massive and ancient, its branches reaching toward the gray October sky. Marcus was sitting at its base, knees drawn up, looking smaller somehow. I know you think I'm not real, he said without looking up. And the weird thing is, sometimes I think you're right. I sat down beside him, maintaining distance. I have these memories, he continued, but they feel thin, like looking at photos of someone else's life and being told they're yours. I remember being 5 and breaking Mom's vase, but I also remember watching you break it. I remember scoring the winning basket last year, but I also remember you scoring it while I watched from nowhere. The timestamp, I said. 3:47 to 3:52. He nodded. 5 minutes. I was born in those 5 minutes. Or created. Or whatever this is. You know? I've always known, I think, but knowing and accepting are different things. It's easier to just be Marcus, be your brother, be real. He picked up a stick, drew patterns in the dirt. Do you know what it's like, existing but knowing you maybe shouldn't? Having memories that feel like echoes? Loving people who should remember a world without you? Why? I asked. Why is this happening? I don't know, but... He paused, looked at me for the first time. It's spreading. Sarah's sister, Mrs. Patterson's son, who moved away last year, but now everyone remembers him visiting last month. The Hendersons suddenly have twins instead of one kid. How do you know all this? Because I can feel them. The other ones, like me. the ones who exist in the gaps. We're connected somehow. And Tyler, his voice dropped. It's accelerating. Every day at 3:47 a.m., more of us. Soon, everyone will have a twin, a sibling, someone who was always there but never was. We have to stop it. Marcus laughed. Bitter. Stop it. I am it. If you stop it, I disappear. I go back to never existing. And here's the thing, no one will remember me. Not even you. It'll be like these last few days never happened. But you're not real. Aren't I? He grabbed my hand, squeezed. Warm, solid, real. I have thoughts. Fears. I don't want to die, or unexist, or whatever you'd call it. I have memories of growing up with you, even if they're borrowed or manufactured or whatever. I love Mom and Dad. I love you, brother. I pulled my hand away. You're not my brother. No, he agreed, but I could be. We could just let this happen, let reality reshape itself. Would it really be so bad, having a twin? Someone who understands you completely? It's not real. Reality is what everyone agrees it is, and everyone but you agrees I'm real. My phone buzzed. Mom, dinner in 20. Both of you better be home. Both of you. Tonight, Marcus said, standing up. 3:47 a.m. It happens again, another wave, and each time, the old reality gets thinner, harder to remember. Soon, you won't even remember a world without me. We'll just be the Chen twins. Always have been, unless... He looked at me, sad. Unless you find a way to stop it. But Tyler, if you do, everyone you know might have someone they lose. Someone they won't even remember losing. Are you prepared for that? He walked away, leaving me under the oak tree as the sun set. I stayed there until dark, thinking, remembering my life, my real life as an only child. It was getting harder. Marcus kept creeping into the memories, like he'd always been there, just out of frame, waiting to step into the picture. My phone showed 11:47 p.m. when I finally got home. Everyone was asleep. I crept up to my room, our room. Marcus was in his bed, breathing steadily. I sat at my desk, our desk, and wrote this, all of it, every word, because I need someone to remember. Even if that someone is just you, listening to this now. It's 3:41 a.m. now, 6 minutes until it happens again, until reality shifts and more people who never were suddenly always were. I found something, hidden in Marcus's, our desk drawer. A note in my handwriting that I don't remember writing. The source is in the basement of the old Portland Observatory. 3:47 a.m. October 8th, every Tuesday. Stop the signal, stop the spread, but everyone forgets what they lose. The observatory is 20 minutes away. I'll never make it in time tonight. But next Tuesday, Marcus just stirred, opened his eyes. You're going to do it, aren't you? You're going to erase me. I didn't answer. I don't blame you, see, he said. I'd probably do the same. Just promise me something. What? Remember that I was here. Even if it's just as a dream, or a story, or a ghost of something that almost was. Remember that for a few days, Marcus Chen existed, and he was your brother. 3:46 a.m. 1 minute. The air feels electric, like reality is holding its breath. Marcus is looking at me, waiting, and I have to decide. Do I let this spread? Let everyone have their doubles, their twins, their echoes? Let reality become something new and strange but somehow complete? Or do I stop it? Next Tuesday, erase Marcus, and who knows how many others. Return the world to what it was. Lonelier, maybe. But true? 3:47 a.m. The room flickers, static. And when it clears, there are 3 beds in the room, 3 desks, 3 of everything. And in the new bed, another boy with our face stirs awake. "Morning, brothers," he says with a smile I recognize as my own. Marcus looks at me, terrified. "Tyler, it's accelerating. It's not just twins anymore." The new boy, our triplet, laughs. "I'm Sam. I've always been Sam. Don't you remember? We're the Chen triplets. Always have been. Number, not always. But I'm starting to remember it that way. Starting to see photos in my mind of 3 boys blowing out birthday candles. 3 boys in matching Halloween costumes. 3 boys who've always been together. Next Tuesday. If I can hold on until next Tuesday. If I can remember what's real. But what if I can't? What if by next Tuesday I won't want to? What if none of us do? Look around your room right now. Look at your family photos. Are you sure everyone in them was always there? Are you absolutely certain you know who's real and who's an echo? Because it's spreading. And once you start to doubt, once you begin to notice the cracks, the inconsistencies, the faces that shouldn't be there but somehow always were, well, sweet dreams. If you can manage to sleep after this, check your room at 3:47 a.m. Count the people in your family photos. Remember who was real before the static comes, before we all become echoes of echoes, until no one remembers what was true. Marcus is crying now. Sam is humming. And somewhere, in another house, another family is waking up to discover they've always had twins. The Chen triplets. We've always been the Chen triplets. Haven't we? Haven't we? I need you to remember this story. Share it. Talk about it. Keep the truth alive. Because by next Tuesday, I might not remember it myself. I might not remember that once, for 18 years. I was an only child. Once I was alone. Once I was real. But maybe none of us ever were. The manila folder shouldn't have been there. It was wedged between my apartment door and the frame when I got home from my shift at the Portland General Hospital parking garage. No address label, no stamps. Just my name, Sarah Chen, written in blue ballpoint pen that looked like it had been pressed so hard it nearly tore through the paper. I need you to understand something before I tell you what happened next. Sometimes the most terrifying things come wrapped in the most ordinary packages, and sometimes they come with your name on them. If you're listening to this in bed right now, maybe check your door first, just to be sure. Because what I found in that folder changed everything I thought I knew about myself. And tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., I finally get the answers that might explain why I'm not who I think I am. All right, the story's about to start now. Get comfortable, but not too comfortable. The security camera in my building's hallway had been broken for 3 weeks. Management kept saying they'd fix it. But you know how apartment buildings in downtown Portland can be. Things break, and they stay broken until someone important complains. I wasn't important enough. I picked up the folder with my free hand, my other arm full of groceries from Trader Joe's. The paper felt old. Not vintage old, but medical old. That specific texture that hospital documents have after they've been photocopied one too many times. My neighbor, Mrs. Kowalski, was watching through her peephole. I could feel her one good eye tracking me as I fumbled with my keys. She did that every day at 5:30, like clockwork. Usually it was comforting. That night, it made my skin crawl. Inside my apartment, I set the groceries on the kitchen counter. The ice cream would melt. but I couldn't look away from that folder. My hands were shaking as I opened it. The first page was a medical intake form from Riverside Children's Hospital in Sacramento. The date at the top read October 15th, 1997. My 7th birthday. But here's the thing. I've never been to Sacramento. My mom raised me in Astoria, right on the Oregon coast. I remember my 7th birthday perfectly. We had carrot cake at the beach, even though it was raining. Mom let me wear my rainbow umbrella inside the house all day because I insisted I was a magical umbrella princess. The intake form had my name, my birth date, even my social security number. But the address was wrong. Everything else was wrong too. Blood type AB, negative. I'm O positive. I donate blood every 8 weeks at the Red Cross. I flipped to the next page, a psychiatric evaluation. The header read, Post-Incident Behavioral Assessment. The text was partially redacted with thick black marks, but I could make out fragments. Patient exhibits no memory of the event. Dissociative amnesia likely. Recommend continued observation. Sister remains in critical condition. I don't have a sister. I've never had a sister. I'm an only child. Mom told me that 1,000 times growing up whenever I begged for a sibling. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Did you get it? The voice was female, older, tired. Who is this? Check page 7. Then call me back. You have 12 hours before they realize it's missing. The line went dead. Page 7 was a photograph. Black and white. Grainy, like it had been taken with an old security camera. 2 little girls in hospital gowns. They looked identical. Exactly identical. One was sitting up in a hospital bed, smiling at the camera. The other was lying down, connected to machines. Her eyes closed. The girl sitting up was me. I recognized the birthmark on my left shoulder. The way my ears stuck out just a little too much. But the girl lying down, she had the same birthmark, the same ear, the same everything. I sat down hard on my kitchen floor. The linoleum was cold through my jeans. Outside, someone was playing music too loud. Some classic rock station. Journey. Don't Stop Believin'. The normalcy of it made everything feel more insane. I called the number back. Good, the woman said without saying hello. My name is Dr. Patricia Morse. I was your neurologist, both of yours, 20 years ago. I don't understand. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., you have an MRI appointment at Portland General. Routine scan, nothing suspicious. But Sarah, they're not looking for what I think they'll find. There's something inside your temporal lobe that shouldn't be there. Something that's been dormant for 20 years. What are you talking about? Page 12. Look at page 12. I fumbled through the papers. Page 12 was another medical report. This one was harder to read, full of medical jargon, but one phrase was circled in red pen. Experimental neural bridge implantation successful. Your sister Megan. Dr. Morse continued. She was dying, the accident. It destroyed most of her brain function, but your parents agreed to an experimental procedure. One that had never been tried on humans before. My mouth was dry. What kind of procedure? We created a bridge, a connection between your brain and hers. The idea was to use your healthy neural pathways to support her damaged ones, just temporarily, just until she healed. But I don't remember any of this, because we made sure you wouldn't. The trauma of sharing consciousness with someone in a coma, it would have destroyed a 7-year-old's mind. So we blocked it, all of it. Your memories of her, of the accident, of the 3 months you spent connected. 3 months. 3 months of my childhood. Gone. But here's what we didn't expect. Her voice dropped lower. The connection never fully severed. And tomorrow, when they run that MRI, they're going to see it. The neural bridge. Still there, still active. That's impossible. If my sister was in a coma 20 years ago, where is she now? The silence on the other end stretched for 3 long breaths. That's what I've been trying to figure out for 2 decades. Because according to every record I can find, Megan Chen died on January 3rd, 1998. But Sarah, the neural activity in your temporal lobe suggests otherwise. Those patterns, they're not yours. They never have been. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that photograph. 2 identical girls, one sleeping, one awake. Which one was I? At 3 a.m., I started going through old photo albums. Mom had kept everything, meticulously organized in those plastic-covered albums from Costco. First day of school, Halloween costumes, Christmas mornings. But now I noticed things. Every photo from before my 8th birthday, something was off. The backgrounds looked staged, too perfect, like those sample photos that come in picture frames. And Mom, she was smiling, but her eyes looked hollow, forced. There was a gap. October to January when I was 7. No photos. Not one. Mom had said we lost that album in a move, but we never moved. Not once during my entire childhood. My head started hurting around 4 a.m. Not a normal headache, something deeper, behind my left eye, pulsing with my heartbeat. And then I remembered something. Not a full memory, just a fragment. A smell first. Hospital disinfectant mixed with strawberry jello. Then a sound. The steady beep of a heart monitor. But not 1, 2. Beeping in perfect synchronization. I was lying in a bed, but I was also standing beside it. I could feel the scratchy hospital sheets, but also the cold floor under my bare feet. 2 sets of sensations. 2 perspectives, same moment. The memory shattered like glass, leaving me gasping on my living room floor. My phone rang. Dr. Morse. It's happening, isn't it? You're starting to remember. What did you do to us? My voice came out strangled. We were trying to save her. The technology, it was revolutionary. We could map neural pathways, copy them, share them. Your sister's brain was dying, but her consciousness, we thought we could preserve it. Just temporarily. Just until we could repair the damage. By putting it in my head, the connection was supposed to be one way. You supporting her, not her affecting you. But consciousness, it's not as simple as we thought. It's not just electrical signals and chemical reactions. It's something more. Something that doesn't like being split in half. I stood up, paced to the window. Portland was waking up. Joggers on the street, coffee shops opening. Normal people living normal lives. Why now? Why is this happening now? The brain changes as we age. Neural pathways that were dormant can suddenly activate. Especially during times of stress or significant life changes. Have you experienced anything unusual lately? Dreams, blackouts, moments where you felt like you weren't yourself. I thought about last Tuesday. I'd been at work, checking parking permits. And suddenly, I was in the break room. 40 minutes missing. My coworker Janet said I'd been talking to myself, having a whole conversation, but only speaking one side of it. And the dreams. God, the dreams, always the same. I'm underwater, but I can breathe. Someone's holding my hand, pulling me up, but also pulling me down. And when I look, it's my own face staring back at me. She's trying to surface, Dr. Morse said quietly. After 20 years, your sister is trying to come back. But you said she died. Her body did. The official records show brain death on January 3rd. We disconnected the machines, had the funeral. But Sarah, we never actually severed the neural bridge. We couldn't. Every time we tried, you went into cardiac arrest. It was like your body knew that cutting that connection would kill part of you. So, what, she's been in my head this whole time? Dormant? Not dormant, hidden. Integrated so deeply into your consciousness that you couldn't tell where you ended and she began, but something's changed. Something's waking her up. The headache was getting worse, spreading from behind my eye to my entire skull. The MRI tomorrow. I started. We'll show them everything. The neural bridge, the duplicate patterns, the impossible brain activity. They'll want to study you. Both of you. And Sarah. Once they know, once they start probing, there's no telling what that could trigger. What do you mean? I mean, the human brain isn't meant to hold two consciousnesses. The barriers I put in place 20 years ago. They're failing, and when they collapse completely, she didn't need to finish. I understood. 2 minds, 1 brain. Something would have to give. By 6 a.m., I was throwing up. Not from sickness, from the memories. They were coming faster now. Flashes of a life I didn't remember living. A yellow bedroom with 2 beds. Identical comforters with rainbow butterflies. Mom singing us to sleep. But the song was different. Not "You Are My Sunshine" like I remembered, but "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." And she sang it twice, once for each of us. I called in sick to work. Janet was concerned. Said I hadn't sounded like myself lately. The way she said it made my skin crawl. At 7, I drove to my mom's house in Beaverton. She'd moved there after I graduated college. Said she wanted a smaller place, but now I wondered. Was she running from something? From the memories of what happened. She was in her garden when I arrived, pulling weeds with the focused intensity of someone trying not to think. She looked up when she heard my car, and I saw it, the flash of fear before she smiled. "Sarah, honey, what are you doing here so early?" I held up the manila folder. Her face went white. The garden trowel fell from her hand. "Where did you get that?" "Someone left it at my door." "Mom, tell me about Megan." She stood up slowly, like her bones hurt. Looked older suddenly, fragile. "Come inside." Her kitchen smelled like coffee and cinnamon rolls. Normal. Safe. Everything I was learning wasn't. She poured 2 cups with shaking hands, sat down across from me. "You were inseparable," she started. "From the moment you were born. Identical twins, but more than that. You had your own language. Would cry if we separated you for even a few minutes. It was like you were 2 halves of the same person. What happened?" "The accident. October 15th, your 7th birthday. We were driving to Sacramento to visit your grandmother. Your father was driving." She paused, sipped her coffee. "I never told you about your father." Another lie, another gap. I'd grown up thinking he'd left when I was a baby. The truck came out of nowhere, hit us head on. Your father died instantly. Megan, she took the worst of it. Traumatic brain injury. The doctor said she'd never wake up. But Dr. Morse offered hope. Said she had an experimental treatment. Something about shared consciousness, neural bridging. I was desperate. I'd lost your father. I couldn't lose Megan too. So you let them experiment on us. What choice did I have? Her voice cracked. She was dying, and you kept asking for her. Kept trying to get into her hospital bed. It was like you could feel her slipping away. The procedure worked, sort of. Megan's body stabilized. Her brain activity increased. But you changed. Started having conversations with yourself. Would look in mirrors and talk to your reflection like it was another person. Would insist on 2 of everything. 2 plates at dinner. 2 bedtime stories, 2 goodnight kisses. I remembered none of this. The mental block was that complete. The doctor said it was temporary. That once Megan healed, they could separate you. But she never healed enough, and the longer the connection lasted, the more intertwined you became. By December, we couldn't tell which thoughts were yours and which were hers. So, what happened? Mom stood up, walked to the window. She died, January 3rd. A blood clot, nothing to do with the brain injury, just bad luck. One moment she was stable, the next, gone. But the connection should have died with her, that's what Dr. Morse said. But you didn't even react, no grief, no awareness that anything had happened. It was like she never existed, or like she never left, I finished.